junior high all the way up to NFL. I mean, your quarterback plays well, you got a chance to win. If he doesn't, it makes it really, really difficult, puts a lot of heavy lifting on everybody else. He struggled down the stretch to be healthy, got beat up, had an injury at Arkansas State in that game, and he finally was able to get off of that leg and rehab and strengthen, and happy to say he looks like himself again. We were a different offense before the injury. He was a different quarterback after, and it definitely changed what we were able to do. He's had a phenomenal bowl prep, excited about the game, a lot of eyes at the next level, and I would love to see him have a great game and finish up on a high note.
Yeah, I think a lot. I've Myron doesn't believe me, but I've been watching tape on your team, and I actually think he's a great kid to watch. I think fans will enjoy it. I appreciate your time, Blake. Good luck. By the way, I said at your press conference, immaculate hair. I just wanted to give you credit. I thought your hair that day it just was perfect. So big shout out to you.
Ms. Jean that cuts my hair. I don't know if she's listening. She gets a shout out. She does an amazing job.
Miss Jean.
You better be tipping Miss Jean with that big Hattiesburg money. A good friend of mine is one of your boosters. And I'm going to tell him to give you I'm not going to say his name on the air, but a good friend of mine is one of
tell him to send me a big check.
All right. He's going to be at the game on Tuesday.
That's what I'm talking about,
Blake.
Coach.
Take care, guys.
Thank you very much. All right. Now, not only do we have a New Orleans Bowl, we have a King of the Mountain. You, at this point, if you listen to this show, you know King of the Mountain. The goal is to find out who has the best takes. You get 30 seconds. You can do the topic. Whoever does the best is this week's King of the Mountain. And then if it's really good, you become the King of the Mountain. We have a 2-week winner. He's going for his third title. 888-say ESPN. Your hottest takes, but you need to make it quick. Myron, I was asked, what makes for a good King of the Mountain take? What would you describe?
Straight to the point. Don't deviate. Don't stick to the point.
And then, would you recommend people try to be entertaining?
Yes, but don't give us substance over everything else, I would say.
Well, the reigning champion, King of the Mountain, is DJ in San Antonio. He hit Lane Kiffin pretty well. And by the way, it has aged correctly. Do you like Lane Kiffin's new hot yoga pics, by the way, in Baton Rouge?
Yeah,
he's keeping it up.
He's ridiculous, man.
My
I can't
man
wait for that game.
Shows up at hot yoga wherever he is in various forms of nudity. We will do the hot takes at King of the Mountain. 888-say ESPN. That's next year on Matt Myron on ESPN Radio.
Football Sunday on ESPN Radio.
To win the division, we have to win out. We know that. That's as plain and simple as it is.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Carolina Panthers tied for first place in the NFC South, and they go head-to-head in Charlotte this weekend. Coverage begins today at noon Eastern, with kickoff at 1 Eastern on ESPN Radio.
Getting more as a MyLowe's Pro Rewards member is easier than ever with the Lowe's app. Download it today and earn 500 points the first time you log in. Plus, your digital wallet helps you scan, save, earn, and access what you need to manage it all in one place. Download the Lowe's app and take advantage of your pro benefits today. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid 12/1/25 through 1/7/26. Offer valid for first login per organization only. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Additional restrictions apply. Visit Lowe's.com/terms for more details. Subject to change.
Too much on your list this season? Get 50% off your first 6 months of payroll at gusto.com/radio. Gusto saves you 2 days every month on payroll, taxes, and compliance. So you can go from making payroll to making gingerbread houses, checking your books to decking the halls, spreadsheets to snow angels. Switch before the end of the year and there's no need to transfer payroll history. Now that's a reason to be merry. Choose the future with Gusto and get more time for what matters. For a limited time, get 50% off your first 6 months at gusto.com/radio.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
The company is Eagle Masonry and Insulation, but did you know they're also Eagle Landscaping and Dirt Work? Eagle can take care of all your landscaping needs, including irrigation, sod work, and planting, both plants and trees. On the dirt work side, Eagle can grade and build your pads, haul dirt in or out, and even do erosion control. Philip Love and his team can do it all for you. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
When Nashville does bowl season, it hits different. On Tuesday, December 30th, we're serving up big plays and conference pride. Join us at Nissan Stadium when the SEC battles the Big Ten in the Liberty Mutual Music City Bowl, where the party hits harder than bowl season glory and football roars loud enough to rattle Broadway. Get your tickets now at MusicCityBowl.com.
Roll Tide.
Firing catch made, first down. Lonnie Brooks breaks the tackle. 4-3-2-1 touchdown. Lonnie Brooks. Good snap. And he dropped it. Bama blocked it. Bama blocked it. Keenan picked it up. What a play by the Tide. A pick at the 45 to the 30. Touchdown. Xavier Brown. Mateer scrambling. He's going down. Fourth sack of the night for Alabama. Daniel breaks the tackle. Fights his way to the goal line. He's in. Touchdown, Alabama. The Tide advances to play top-seeded Indiana in the quarterfinals of the CFP. But as for Norman, in this night, let's get out of here.
Next stop, the college football playoff quarterfinal at the Rose Bowl. Live from Pasadena, California, on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
The divisions are still in play. I'm Chris Smith. After the Eagles clinch the NFC East on Saturday, the Broncos have the most to play for in Week 16 with a chance to wrap up both the AFC West, the number one seed, and home field advantage in the AFC. And Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Warner says it will be up to Bo Nix, who has a completion rate of just 36% on passes at least 15 yards downfield this season, which puts him 29th out of 32 qualified QBs.
You can get the version that is more willing, and risk averse to push the ball down the field a little bit more and create some of those big plays along with everything else they have. This becomes a really scary team, in my opinion, because he is a playmaker and he's going to make a lot of plays for you in the course of the game. If he makes some on schedule and big plays for this team, along with that defense, they're going to be really tough.
Heard on ESPN Radio's The Rich Eisen Show. Denver can clinch the division with a win against the Jaguars and the Chargers loss, but to clinch the top seed, they'll also need losses by the Bills and the Patriots. And according to ESPN's Adam Schefter, Texans running back Nick Chubb, who is listed as questionable due to a rib injury, is expected to play versus the Texans, while wide receiver Christian Kirk, who has been battling an illness, is also expected to play. On the baseball, where Japanese slugger Manutaka Murakami and the White Sox are in agreement on a 2-year, $34 million contract, sources told ESPN's Jeff Passan. The 25-year-old heads to the majors with 246 home runs in his 8 seasons for the Tokyo Swallows.
Hey, it's Evan Cohen. Coming up Monday, we'll react to the college football playoff. Plus, can Phillip Rivers turn back the clock to lead the Colts to an upset win over the Niners? Or will San Francisco continue to roll? It's on Sportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Welcome to the Alabama Football Recap Show with Drew DeArmond and Steve Moulton. Smoked by Dreamland Barbecue. Ain't nothing like 'em nowhere. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Drew and Steve.
The left hash, kicking right to left. Talty kicks it away. The kick is up. Kick has plenty of leg, and the kick is perfect. Connor Talty, 2 for 2 on field goals tonight, and Alabama adds to its lead. It's 27-17. Simpson didn't get the snap in time. We thought we had movement. Now they'll throw it deep. We got a man down there, and it is caught near the boundary. It is a completion, and what a grab by Isaiah Horton. Now Lindsey will come in motion to the right. Will hand it off. No. Play action. Throwing near side for Journey. Took it off the back of a defender, and then it gets stripped away. Incomplete, or is it?
They're going to call him
a catch. It's a catch for Jeremy Bernard at the 5 as he took it off the back of the OU defender. What a play. Hill in the backfield to the left of Simpson, who works from the pistol. Hands it off to Daniel, up the gut. Daniel breaks the tackle, fights his way to the goal line. He's in. Touchdown, Alabama. 6 yards, right up the gut, and the Tide adds to its lead. Sooners snap it at 4. Mateer scrambling. He's going down. Kelby Collins gets the 4th sack of the night for Alabama. All the way back to the 19, and the Sooners will have to punch. I'll tell you takes a snap, takes a knee, and Oklahoma can't stop it. And they had been able to stop Alabama. 34-24 is our score. And barring something goofy, that's going to be your final. We're going to have to snap it one more time, and that's it. Victory formation for Ty Simpson and the Crimson Tide. And a victory is exactly what we've gotten. California, here we come. Alabama, a winner over the Sooners in Norman. 34-24 is your final. The Tide advances to play top-seeded Indiana in the quarterfinals of the CFP. But as for Norman, in this night, let's get out of here. Alabama a winner by 10.
There you go. Those are the calls from Chris Stewart. Drew DeArmond is on location down in Orange Beach. How are you, Drew DeArmond?
I'm doing good, Steve. How are you this morning?
I'm doing very well. It's good to see you. It's good to hear you. And let's dive into it. There was quite a few people writing off the Crimson Tide halfway through the second quarter.
Drink if you saw a stupid tweet.
Hang on.
Yeah.
I'm still drinking. I'm still drinking.
Drink if you got stupid texts.
Okay.
You know. I mean,
you got a few more than I did.
Yeah, well, I mean, understand people get frustrated, all right? I got friends that get frustrated. You know, you see people in the media who, and you know, and you've seen the way I handle myself. I don't tweet a lot during games, except for if I'm on location tweeting drive summaries. And that's usually for the radio station. But if you look at my personal account, I don't know if I'll ever get to do that again. I'm hopeful that at some point I'll get it back because I don't want to give up the followers that I spent 10 years acquiring.
Accumulating, yeah.
I mean, it's only fair. I mean, at some point, in other words, X, wake up and fix it because you can see what happened.
Come on, Elon.
But I'm just saying, you know, it's one of those things. I don't do that a lot. I'll usually wait till after the game because it's really – I don't like that hot take stuff because you can really make yourself look like a dumbass, okay? And there's a lot of people that do. And I don't like the hot take stuff. I mean, I just think it's stupid. Just let it play out, and then you can have a take after the game. But during games, I just think it's really stupid.
So to jump on that just for a second, Drew, I mean, the 4 quarters at the SEC championship game and the first quarter of Oklahoma, I mean, there was that previous game, there was an assumption that, if that's even a word, but of how Alabama was going to look for the next 3 quarters because of what we saw against Georgia. But this just in, Oklahoma is not Georgia.
No, they're not. But I'll just say this too: if you go by that stuff, then Alabama would be in the middle of a coaching search.
That's right.
Because they would have Kalen DeBoer going to Michigan, which, in my opinion, was never going to happen. Okay, and look, and Alabama, I thought would play Oklahoma a tough football game. Was I stunned at the start? Yeah, I guess so. But here, guess what? It was almost a reversal of the Iron Bowl because Alabama got off to a really strong start, and then Auburn rallied. Except this time, Alabama finished and Auburn didn't. But Alabama controlled that game. They went on a 34-7 run. And, what I told everybody last week, that was the keys to the game. Alabama was better in the kicking game than than Oklahoma was.
Yeah.
Oklahoma got a punt and block, dropped a punt, whatever they did. Alabama, that goes down as a block. And I know this is going to sound like it. And Drink, if you would have ever thought this.
I'm waiting to hear the finish of the thought here.
Connor Talty's the best kicker in the playoff so far.
I'm still drinking.
That's something. I mean, if you had told me before the game, Drew DeArmond, Connor Talty is going to outkick the Tate Sandell, the self-proclaimed greatest kicker of all time, I would have been stunned. But nobody enjoyed Tate Sandell choking more than me. Because
it was tight on that first miss. It was tight, but I thought it was the correct call. I mean, the entire football has to be inside the uprights, even if it goes above the post. So that's why it was the correct call.
Well, and it was kind of funny. When I watched the kick, I thought it was going to just, go inside the upright. And I was like, well, Alabama's got to be ready for the onside. If they get the onside, the game's over. And then I saw the official go, no good. And I couldn't stop laughing because, because the old boy, he likes to strut all this stuff. The kicker, he thinks he's something with his short pants. Well, guess what? You'll never forget it for the rest of your life. You choked in your last college game, and you're going to the house.
And we all saw it as they zoomed in on him afterwards, and even missing that second kick as well. I mean,
beautiful.
Kicking under pressure is very real, and this is why when you get an elite kicker, you just hang on to him like a Will Reichert.
That's a perfect segue, Steve, because I was going to tell Tate Sandell, you ever watch this, pal? You ain't Will Reichert. So too bad. So sad. Sorry you lost your last game, pal. Hopefully you'll get drafted and you'll end up having a good NFL career, but don't ever forget the Tide whipped your ass in your last game. So that's all I'm going to say. And then I'll just say this too. I wish I had my own X account so I could – put that out there. But I felt the need to call out, the Ryan Clarks of the world, Mike Wilbon, who I thought had an idiotic take, who I'll tell you again, does not know who the athletic director is at Alabama, wouldn't know Kalen DeBoer 4 years ago, and does not have the feel of the Alabama fan base. He's a Big Ten honk. Okay, that's all he is. And then Matt Hayes, all he tries to do is stir stuff up. And I'll say it again on this show. If he ever touches me in the press room again, we're going to have a problem. And that's all I'm going to say. And I don't like the guy. I think he's a turd. And his takes stink. And he needs to stick to the Gators because that's what he knows. He doesn't know anything about Alabama. He had no feel for that situation. None of those guys did. The Brandon Walkers of the world, they all need to put that salt on that crow and keep shoveling it down their throat because that's what they had to do. And, look, man, it was a satisfying win as I've seen from Alabama in a long time. Definitely the best win of this season.
Yeah.
Because I do think Oklahoma's a really good team. Now, are they a great team? No, but they're a really good team. And to go into that electric atmosphere and make Brian Bosworth and the rest of them spike their Dr. Pepper and go home sad was extremely satisfying because, I think – Alabama showed a lot of toughness, a lot of grit. And if they didn't believe in their coach and their coach wasn't staying, then you don't fight like that. And they fought. And by the way, I will give him a shout out on this show. My good friend Ryan Fowler, I told him to remember that I named this, but I think the Jeremy Bernard catch should be a Daniel Moore print. And you saw all those shirts, and you saw 50 Cent coming out rapping, man. Talking about hard to kill.
Yeah.
Well, the name of the painting is Hard to Kill, ... dead.
All right, a couple of things stood out to me. How about 2 for 12 on third downs for Alabama, but 1 for 1 on fourth downs. Yeah. And that fourth down conversion really was, and I know Kirk Herbstreit kept going back to that one on the broadcast. But 2 for 12 on third downs, that can't happen against Indiana.
No, it can't. And if you had told me it was going to happen against OU, I wouldn't have liked their chances.
Yeah.
But football is a funny game, and yeah, B. Rich is probably watching this show, and he'll be he'll be my spirit animal today, and you guys will be over at the Rocket City Classic. Right. Wish I could be there to watch the Tide against one of my favorite people, Antoine Petway, and shout out to Caden Rickard and R.J. Johnson. They're coming back home to play. And hey, don't forget too. I had forgotten this, but I don't think I think he may be injured right now. But Davin Cosby is also on the roster for.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. So a former Bama guy. But Alabama coming in trying to finish up their pre-conference in the next 2 games: Kennesaw State and then Yale. Yale's a really good team out of the Ivy League. But again, wish I could be there. But the first thing I'll give Alabama's your media relations and and of course they're the folks that run their football Twitter account. They were on my the same wavelength I was, because I go back to B. Rich and I's high school days, and this is when he became big and when he came on the scene. But as soon as Latsier Brooks scored those 2 touchdowns, the first thing that's going through your mind is that old school Snoop song, Lottie Dottie, he likes to potty. And he certainly did. And he stepped up big in those 2 situations and made 2 huge plays. And, I mean, that 4th down and 2, to break the tackle, the second and third effort to get in the end zone, really sparked Alabama. And I'll be honest with you, we watched the first half in a sports bar, and there were some LSU and Texas fans that were being quite, raucous. Of course, I don't know. I guess they have to be when their team's sitting at the home with their ass on the couch, not in the playoff. But let's just put it this way: when Mateer made a mistake, and this time Alabama made him pay for it. In other words, Zabian takes it back to the house. There was a lot of quiet people in the restaurant, except for me, of course. Asking some people, hey, I don't hear you anymore. Where are you? But I really just thought that was a big key to Alabama, kind of stunning Oklahoma and being able to get back even before the half, because then that start, which was unreal. I mean, Oklahoma was on fire. I mean, all I could say, and that's all I said to a few people, was they're getting whipped.
Yeah.
There's nothing more you can say. I mean,
3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. I mean,
you can talk about them being unprepared all you want. I just give Oklahoma credit for coming out with their hair on fire. But then I give Alabama credit for steadying themselves and then, going on that 10-point run, taking advantage of that the muff block punt, whatever you want to call it. And then Zabian Brown, taking the pick back. That was huge because it made everything even at the half. And then Alabama got the football to start the half and then immediately just kept the momentum going. And I thought they put a lot of game pressure on Oklahoma, and you kind of referenced that when we started the show.
Yeah.
And when you take a 10-point lead into the 4th quarter, Oklahoma scored quickly, but then Alabama answered. And when
that 30-yard run by Daniel Hill,
right.
I know as much as people want to focus on that 4th down, boy, that 30-yard run by Daniel Hill was just huge.
It was the longest run from scrimmage since the ULM game. And I'll give Daniel Hill credit, Steve, because he's hurt, okay? A lot of those guys are. But Daniel brought the thunder, and quite frankly, you can argue that his 2 best games have come against OU. And they because he had 2 touchdowns and 60 yards against them on November the 15th. So he's given Oklahoma some problems. There's no question about that. And then neither team ran the ball well, because I thought, I'll give Kane Womack a lot of credit. After the first quarter, they pretty much shut Oklahoma down except for the 1 touchdown drive.
Yeah.
Oklahoma wasn't doing anything. And then I'm going to give another shout out because we know LT Overton has been out. I'm praying for him. I still would doubt that he would be back for the Rose Bowl.
I wouldn't count on it. I really wouldn't.
But guess what? Number 31 has really, really come on, Keon Keeley.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought he played his guts out, Steve. I mean, I really did. I thought he was tremendous. I thought he did a really nice job at the bandit spot. it goes to show you sometimes you have to be patient. I know he was a 5-star and he was thought to be an edge rusher, but he's now a bandit with his hand in the dirt, and he was getting after it.
Yeah.
And then in our montage of highlights from Chris Stewart and Tyler and Corey and all those guys from the Crimson Tide Sports Network, another one late was Kelby Collins, who missed the SEC championship game sick, but he got a big sack, and I think they had 5 on the night.
That's right.
And so and a lot of them were not blitzes. It was just getting pressure with 4 and Kane's playing a lot of zone because he wants to keep everything in front of him, and he doesn't think teams can finish drives, and in many cases that's correct, and you don't want to give up big plays. And another underrated thing Alabama did defensively is they shut down Isaiah Satania. I know he had a short touchdown catch, but I don't even think he had 20 yards receiving, and he didn't do much in the return game either.
What are you hearing about Tim Keenan?
I've done a little, I've been on the phone and then I was listening to the end of the broadcast. And Holly Rowe, by the way, shout out. She does do a great job. She is somebody as far as a female in the sports.
She's just really good at her job, male or female.
It doesn't matter. She's very, very good. Now there are some others like Nicole Hour-Dumb and Heather Dimwit. They're not very good. But Holly Rowe, Hannah Storm, Andrea Kramer, who I was honored to meet at the Super Bowl, these are Hall of Fame people. Okay, they know what they're doing, and the thing too is I think Holly Rowe is someone that coaches trust because she knows how to do her job. And she reported at the end of the game that Keenan and Red Morgan, a lot of people forget Red got hurt on a kickoff, or excuse me, a punt return.
Okay.
There was an illegal block, and Red was kind of knocked out a little bit, but she reported that both of them were fine after the game and could have returned, and that's big because Red Morgan is basically taking over as the nickel, and they're going to need him against Indiana. Hell, they're going to need everybody. I mean, I know this isn't.
Why I'm asking about Tim Keenan. I just wanted to see if you heard an update because that is. I mean, we've seen this team play without Tim Keenan, and Alabama is going to need him on January 1st.
No question. I mean, you're playing the number 1 team in the country who is extremely physical, has the Heisman Trophy winner at quarterback. Has a great receiver in Surratt outside.
Yeah.
I mean, and they have an underrated running game. I mean, these guys are good, and their front's really good. So Alabama's going to need everybody, okay?
Yeah.
And so now I will go back and reiterate what I said. This team is now 11-3, and this is gravy. This football team. Now, at the start of the season, would I have expected this? I would. But see, that's on paper. Then you have to see how the season plays out. But I think all in all, Kalen DeBoer and his staff at least have a B-plus grade for me. They've done a great job. I know they didn't beat Georgia in the rematch, and the Florida State game was frustrating. But every other game, they've had a chance to win. And then to get revenge on Oklahoma the way they did, I don't think you can really question anything, especially – and look, this is my problem with the national media, okay? They're not on the beat. They don't pay attention. They don't work to me, they don't work the phones. They don't talk to enough people. They're very black and white and very result oriented. That's all they look at. They don't understand what because they kept referencing how bad Georgia beat Alabama, and they did. Georgia whipped Alabama up and down the field. There was no fluke involved.
But if you did a little bit of homework, you'd rease.
Yes, this is a very banged up football team. I will give one national, social media account credit for it, and that's College Football Nerds. And I've gotten into it with them in the past.
Yeah.
But I will give them credit. They do their homework and they do digging, even if it's after the fact, even after a football game.
Yeah.
And when they preview games the following week, they always reference their information, and they're very data oriented. But they talked about how many guys Alabama had hurt. They were banged up. So was Georgia. I'm not excusing that for the loss. Alabama lost. That's the injuries didn't have. They played a role, but they didn't have the ultimate outcome in the game. Georgia was better that day.
Yeah,
they just whipped Alabama up and down the field, but. The bottom line is Alabama was banged up late in the season, okay? but Alabama deserves to be in the playoff, and they proved it. So that's
how about the game for Josh Cuevas?
He's a tough kid, Steve. He's got a stress fracture in his foot. Okay,
that's exactly my point. A guy that was not able to play in the SEC championship game, but really gutted it out in a big way. He was targeted 6 times, caught 4 balls, and just you could tell he was a huge help for Ty Simpson.
He's a security blanket, and he channeled his inner Barrett Jones, and he put himself, and his well-being. He put that the team in front of that.
How about that? I mean, really, as a whole, if you're thinking about the next level, I know he's probably thinking maybe I'll get dinged. If anything, NFL teams are probably going to pull him up the board because of what he just did.
Well, I would think so. And he was still able to be a factor in the game and help move the sticks. And hopefully he can get even healthier. I would imagine he would have never done it if they thought he could, worsen the injury.
Yeah.
So hopefully he can give, going in, I know I said on Talking Ball and on our other shows that I was doubtful that he would play, but I did say if he did, it would be on a pitch count, and they would probably give him 20 to 25 snaps. And then, hey man, but you gotta still talk.
Like he played at least 25 snaps.
I think so, but I gotta say this. I mean, but they needed him because once again on a big down, Caleb Edwards dropped the ball.
Ryan Williams.
Well, need a Sack Williams on a big 3rd down. He couldn't go up and high point the ball. He tried to catch it with his shoulder pad, and it ricocheted off. I mean, it's just like rinse and repeat. I mean, these guys drop balls all the time. Horton dropped one early, but then he made up for it as the game went on.
Yeah,
Lottie played really well. Cuevas played well. But I said it going in. There was a lot of people talking about Ty Simpson and criticizing him. And I've been critical somewhat. I've said that he hasn't been, from an accuracy standpoint, as sharp. But I also said this. A lot of it is like what Coach Saban always said. It's the play around the quarterback.
Yeah.
And I'll just say I don't think that the offensive line protection has been consistent enough, and that's led to Ty not trusting his protection at times. And then especially the receivers, they're not doing their job. You've got to catch the football. See, and that's another thing. And sometimes I think idiots like Matt Hayes write this stuff just to get reaction. And I'll be honest with you. To me, that's a pathetic way to be a journalist. Okay, report the facts. You can give some of your opinion, but don't just try to inflame people so they'll read your drivel. And I guess what he'll say is, "Well, you read it." I guess so, because I guess that's how he's made a living.
That's how, he stays employed.
He was talking about the best receiver corps in the country. That Alabama's got. Well, Ty Simpson hasn't taken advantage of that. They're not the best receiver corps in America. If you've paid attention, Germ is going to be a pro, and that's why he made the catch he made late. He caught it with his hands. He followed through. And let me give the officials credit. I was scared they were going to,
make it incomplete.
Yeah, call that an incomplete. And it wasn't incomplete because he had come down with the ball on the ground.
And he was down.
He was down.
The ball came loose after he was down. And I know people say survive the ground, but you could tell that it was done. It was done. And
he caught it with his hands. You saw him catch it with his hands, which is
I immediately
thought to study that.
I don't know about you, but I immediately thought Tyrone pro throw.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what it looked like. I completely agree. We're on the same wavelength. He completed the catch, and if you remember, Tyrone's wasn't called the catch at first.
That's right. Right.
They had, because they were so stunned, they had to review it. But again, but great job by Germ, and it set up that. The field goal that really kind of, the touchdown.
That was a touchdown, yeah.
It was because they had already kicked the field goal.
The block punt is what set up the field goal.
Yeah, pardon me. They had already kicked both the field goals because when he kicked the second field goal to put them up 27-17, and so.
Well, I say block punt. I'm going to say drop. That was a drop more than anything, but kudos to Tim Keenan being at the right place at the right time right there.
Yeah, and then Daniel Hill scored that touchdown after the great catch by Germ. Because to me, that was the key sequence in the game, Steve. Because you were able, if Alabama has to settle for another short field goal, you're only up 6, and then Oklahoma could pull a drive out of their ass, and they could win by 1.
There was also a defensive holding call on Oklahoma that allowed Alabama to keep possession that I thought was critical. And I mean, that drive in particular was done, and then the defensive holding happens, and Alabama continues.
Well, and I know, and I remember that because I felt like it was. I think it was actually called and it was the same play, but Germ had dropped the ball.
That's what made me go there.
Yeah, because
you were talking about it.
If Ty had thrown it earlier, it's a touchdown because he's wide open, but he didn't see him. Then he threw it. Still should have been caught. Somehow Germ got the ball. Lost the ball in the lights, whatever it was incomplete. But then they called him for defensive holding, and of course Brent Venables had an aneurysm. But then I'm thinking, Coach, when your DB in the first half basically took the jersey off Isaiah Horton, I didn't see you bitching when they missed that call. Okay, so I mean they all even out, Coach, and I mean I'm just telling you.
We're halfway through. If you'd like to hop on with us, it's the Bama Recap Show, smoked by Dreamland BBQ, 256-576-4977. I'd invite you to head over to our website, 977ESPN.com. Click on the Big Zone deals and enjoy $50 of Dreamland BBQ, like I have done and will do, as you can tell on WZZN TV, for just $25. So we thank the fine folks at Dreamland BBQ. Ain't nothing like them nowhere. Let's start the dive in. I honestly, Drew, just knee jerk. I don't like this matchup. I really don't like this matchup right now. I know it's still a good ways away, but Indiana I've seen 2 full games of Indiana. It was the Ohio State game and the Penn State game, but Indiana plays very consistent to me, and you know what you're going to get out of Mendoza. You know what you're going to get out of Becker. You know what you're going to get out of Hemby. There are certain guys on Indiana's roster, and they flew around against Ohio State. What do you think of the matchup?
Well, I don't think that it's one of these things where it's an impossibility or Alabama's going to have to play a perfect game. I do think it's a very tough one, and I'll be honest with you. After watching a lot of that game, I think Ohio State and Indiana are very, very similar, and that's why the game was 13-10. I mean, they're both really good.
Yeah.
I don't think the only difference is maybe that Ohio State has a few more weapons outside.
Yeah.
State.
Yeah.
And then Bo Jackson, the running back, the young kids coming into into his own. But Indiana, I'll be honest, where I thought they won the game, I thought Indiana was better up front defensively, and they were wrecking things. They
were, yeah.
See, that's where that's going to be a tough matchup for Alabama. But I'll be honest with you.
That's Hardy. I mean, Hardy had a really impressive game. I think like around 10 tackles or something against Ohio State.
Well, and you have to look at it from an Alabama perspective, Steve. They weren't a top 4 seed, so you're going to have to play one of the top 4.
Yeah.
I guess if you want to say what would have been the best matchup for Alabama, probably Texas Tech, due to the league they played in and they haven't seen each other. But Tech has a lot of really highly paid players. Let's just be
it is. Yeah.
They have some really good talent. They ran through the Big 12. They got some guys that are going to be high draft picks. They went out and spent their money well. And so what I'm trying to say is they're not. I'm not taking shots at them. I'm just saying they're still really good. So you're going to play a really good team regardless. But if you're Alabama, I mean, what's more motivating than playing the number 1 team in the country?
Well, to your point, of the top 4 seeds in terms of matchup-wise, you're right. Texas Tech would be the best matchup, but right up above that would be Indiana. Then I'd go Georgia. Then I'd go Ohio State. I think Ohio State would be the worst matchup.
Because of Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, tight end, running back, Julian Sand being a surgeon, all that
Downs
stuff.
On defense. I mean, just Styles on defense. All right, the phone lines have lit up, 576-4977. You're on the Bama Recap Show. Smoked by Dreamland BBQ. Who's this? And good morning.
Hey, good morning. It's B. Rich, fellas.
Good morning.
What's up, B. Rich?
Man, I wish you were here, Drew. We're going to be missing you today at the down at Probst Arena, but I know duty calls for you. But, fellas, what a satisfying win. And, Drew, I would have killed to have seen your phone the first quarter as opposed to your phone the last three quarters.
You're not the only one there, B. Rich. You're not the only one.
Right. I mean, when things are going bad, Drew's phone is like a damn ticking time
It's a
bomb.
Christmas tree.
It's just,
yeah, it's a Christmas tree.
That's exactly right. And when things are going well, it's like crickets and stuff like that. But man, what a testament to this team. I know when the last impression is the SEC championship and that's the last thing burned in your mind. It's really easy to get negative and get down on this team. But I don't know why people are surprised. This is what this team has done. I mean, South Carolina, they had to come back and do this. This team is just really, really resilient. And there was a lot of unsung heroes. I know we've all crapped on Connor Talty all season, but, outside of one bad punt from Dowd, Bama won the special teams
How about that?
battle, and I'm not sure anybody had that.
No,
I'm not
I
sure
didn't.
anybody had. Yeah, and then the big deal was made of R. Mason Thomas being out the first game, and then how he would play. And I thought Caden Proctor did a really good job. There were a lot of names that weren't called that tell you that Bama had people do exactly what they were supposed to do.
Collins and we mentioned him already, but
right.
they're good.
And what I was saying right here is that's how many sacks our Mason Thomas had.
He's holding up a 0. So.
And then another thing too with Dowd, he wasn't great, but I will say this: when it mattered, go back and look. When Alabama was able to get the final score that they needed to put the game away and get the field position they needed near midfield, he coffin cornered that punt. It was a great job.
Yeah.
I
will tell you, I thought I saw a flinch by one of the upmen that was not called. I thought there was a false start, but it wasn't called, and it was a very good punt.
Well, and then before I want to say it was Germ's catch. I believe it looked like that Wilkin Formby moved early at right tackle, but darn, they didn't blow that whistle or throw that flag.
Hey, fellas, they were consistent. I don't know if if they were told, but they let them play. There were a lot of calls I saw that I thought would normally have been called, but they were consistent both ways. They didn't call it both ways. So I like when they called a little bit looser as long as it's consistent and let the players play. But that was really special. And Drew, if I closed my eyes or I time portaled back to 1992. My God, Zabian Brown is the Antonio Langham 2.0.
Thank you. I was
that guy.
Well, on the pick six, that's all I could. You're nailing it. You're nailing it.
That was it. The kid shows up his best in big games. Ball skills are incredible, and I don't think people will understand how important it was for him to take that pick all the way back and not force us to have to, because Oklahoma's defense is stout. So getting a score without even having to play.
Kudos to Mateer for being a poor tackler.
Right. And that guy.
He channeled his inner Milrow.
He looked great early. But I'm not sure what he saw on that. And Zabian saw it the whole way. So. It was, I damn near hit my head on the ceiling at the house we were watching it at. My calves were sore yesterday because I jumped the entire way. The entire way he was taking it back, I was just jumping up and down. But it was an exhilarating win. Really like the way the pass lines up for Alabama. We get another, damn near 2 weeks to keep getting healthy. And, man,
how about
this team could be getting healthy at the right time. So.
Yeah.
I'll let somebody else hop on, fellas. Drew, safe travels coming home, man. Best of Huntsville High down there. Go ahead. If you get this far, you might as well go ahead and win the whole
just win the whole
damn thing down.
Yeah, trying to win the surfboard again for the second time in 3 years. So we'll see if we get it done.
We'll see you there at the VBC here in a couple hours as Alabama, Kennesaw State getting ready to square off. And one point in particular on that, we saw a lot of bad football yesterday. We saw a lot of bad football. And one, I've said it, and it feels like it's on repeat. I just want to see good football. I just want to see good football. But another instance as well is this advantage, I'll say, for Alabama of playing on Friday, getting an extra day of rest. But this longer layoff in between games does benefit these teams that play in the first round. It just does. And I wonder if that might be a point of contention moving forward of what is the real advantage of being a top 4 seed.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, the teams that got the buys last year did not fare well.
None of them. Yeah.
So I mean, that's why we're going to have a 16.
But that was a crap ranking anyway. But I mean,
we'll see that.
Georgia was probably the only one, but they got banged up. Anyway, I know everybody gets banged up, but
bottom line, this is why there's going to be 16 because then there is no buys.
Let's
just seed.
Head back out to the phone lines, 256-576-4977. Good morning. You're on the Bama Recap Show, Smoked by Dreamland Barbecue. Who's this? Hello?
Hey, this is Mike from Huntsville. How are
Hey.
you doing? Can you hear me?
Good. Yeah.
Hey, Mike.
Clear.
How are you?
Hey, great. Hey, you brought up X and Twitter earlier. I got to tell you, I mean, I stayed up, watched that game. I had a bunch of friends, that texted me back and forth during the game. Several dropped off at 17-0. I told them just to freaking hang in there. But I went on to X late that night, and oh my Lord, there have got to be a bunch of people who are so overstuffed with Crow right now. Everybody had us written off, especially all of the Notre Dame Cycle fans, to include
even the Notre Dame account. I mean, even the Notre Dame football account was tweeting out.
And speaking of Notre Dame, and Drew, you brought this up a week or so ago, but in a different way. So I looked at, their schedule, that dominant, one of the most dominant history 10-game runs. The 8 P4 opponents they beat had a 37-59 record.
Wow.
37-59. You want to compare that to Bama? 59-38. So they can, well, I won't say what I think they can do at this point.
Do I need to hit the dump button?
You get the picture.
Yeah. I can say, I'll tell them what they can do.
Okay.
Go watch Lou Holtz because that's the last time he was worth a crap.
And by the way, last point, I'll get off for somebody else. As I sat there and watched Miami and Miami and Texas A&M in the first half yesterday, by the way, it was freaking unwatchable. One of the worst games I've seen. I'm sitting there thinking, by the way, Notre Dame, both of these teams beat you. All right, you guys have a great day real time.
Yeah, I mean, I saw somebody, some idiot Notre Dame fan on X talking about Notre Dame beats both these teams by 2 scores. I'm like, Notre Dame lost to both of them, pal. I don't care when they played them. They didn't beat them, you clown.
Not last year, this year. This year.
I mean, look, instead of having a big problem with Alabama, you know who Notre Dame needs to have a problem with? They need to have a problem with the committee that set up a system where James Madison and Tulane get in. And look, I love John Summerall.
Yeah.
And Godspeed to his family and the loss of his father.
Yeah.
Okay. But look, Tulane and James Madison are not 2 of the top 12 teams in the country.
Just not. They're just not.
Those games were terrible. I mean, I know aesthetically it wasn't a great football game to watch, but it was a high level intensity, and it was it was still a good game from the standpoint of at least just the anxiety and watching 2 teams slug it out with Miami and Texas A&M at least.
Yeah.
I mean, there was high drama. Okay, there was high drama in that game. I got it wrong, and then I'll repeat what I wish I could have put on my own account. But again, the Aggies are going to Aggie, and they, the last 2 games
battered Aggies.
They choked, and again, they had a good football team. Okay, I don't have a problem with them being in, but the way the schedule played itself out, they didn't play a tough SEC schedule, and so they got exposed late by Texas, and then they had their chances against Miami. Okay, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. But Marcel Reed was terrible. I mean, I thought I those 2 end zone or red zone interceptions, those were awful. I mean, you've got to cash both those in, and if you do, then A&M wins it.
Yeah.
And somebody asked me, a media member asked me last night, what is your comp for Marcel Reed? And I said, Jalen Hurts, but I said, Jalen Hurts takes better care of the ball. Okay.
Yeah.
And I said, Marcel Reed's more athletic, but Jalen Hurts is better. And he goes, that's a really good comp. I said, Marcel Reed, you can't make those mistakes. And I didn't think Carson Beck was great.
No, absolutely not. No.
I thought he was just mediocre, but he didn't make the key mistake that Marcel Reed made.
Yeah.
Reed made some flashy plays, but on the downs that mattered, he stunk. And, because I thought A&M should have at least got Miami into overtime, and they did not. So I just felt like Marcel Reed, he came up, he really whiffed in the moment yesterday for Texas A&M, and that's a painful loss for the Aggies, who I think had a really good team and a good year under Mike Elko.
They did.
But let one get away from them.
Back out to the phone lines, 256-576-4977. You're on the Bama Recap Show. Smoked by Dreamland BBQ. Good morning. Who's this?
Morning, guys.
Morning. How are you, Brandon?
I've been hearing it from my wife all morning about my performance at the shorter Floyd County basketball tournament last night. I guess it doesn't do any good to try to hold a mother back while you're talking trash to her at the same time.
No.
Probably not helpful.
I was talking to her about the referee, about she wasn't going to do anything while I was trying to hold her back. My wife was not impressed. We had a debacle last night. Let's just say it got very rowdy.
All right.
Good thing we're not going back to shorter this year. So I'm watching this game the other night with a high school official, and he looks at me when I think it was Caden Proctor. I don't think it was Daniel Hill. He grabs the running back and kind of helps him keep his feet.
Yeah. He grabbed Jam Miller.
Yeah, he did. Pulled him.
Yeah.
I know that's supposed to be a penalty.
And it shouldn't be, though. I mean, Mike Leach wanted to throw a leprechaun over the line of scrimmage, so that would have had to been a penalty, too.
No, that's still legal. Yeah, you can still do that.
You should be able to help your own player on the field.
You can push them, but you can't pull them.
Push, pull. It's all good to me.
I'm just telling you what I've read, but it doesn't mean they call it. Clearly.
Yeah, they don't. And I need Cam Dewberry to understand, when you're on the line of scrimmage, don't stand straight up. I mean, he got destroyed by one of the linebackers, and they came right after Ty Simpson.
Yeah.
I mean, he literally got knocked down by a guy that's 100 pounds less.
It was probably Heineke.
And just got rocked.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, dude, you gotta be in your stance. You got to be looking for what's coming. And speaking of, Ty Simpson will take a snap and never glance to the right as he's taking the snap to see what's going on. He will lock left and just wait to get murdered. Somebody's got to tell him, hey, as you're taking the snap, glance to the right just a tad. Just look and see if somebody's coming free, just out of the corner of your eye before you lock onto your receiver. I was pretty pleased with him most of the night, other than just a couple of those. I thought Bama really turned it around, but I think Brent Venables really showed us something with his defense on them first three drives. I think he really had us confused because he's just a really good defensive mind. But he wasn't able to do it the entire game. I think Grubb kind of moved his pieces around and adjusted to what they were doing. But, man, they were running every run, stunt, split, twist. They were doing everything possible to come after us on those first three drives, and I think that was their plan. Their plan was to try to really get us confused and down early and hope that would mess us up for the rest of the game, but the team was just too well coached to do that.
Well, and I will say this, too. I think Steve was talking about the matchup for Alabama, and it's not an ideal one, but none of the four really would have been. Texas Tech might have been the best. But I will say, playing a team of the style of Oklahoma, their style, I don't think – and I will say this, though. I'm saying I don't think they are, but until I've watched Indiana against Big Ten teams. We haven't seen them play an SEC team. But I do think their style is very similar to Oklahoma's.
Yeah.
Because they want to spread it, they want to throw it, and then their quarterback Mendoza has better mobility than you think, and then
faster. Yeah.
Then they're led by their front on defense. So Alabama needed to see a front like Oklahoma's in order to block Indiana. So I don't think it's, and while Ohio State's more explosive offensively, in my opinion, Indiana is extremely physical, extremely solid. But I think Alabama saw the kind of team they needed to see in Oklahoma to prepare them for the challenge of the number one team in the country, the Indiana Hoosiers.
Well, I told Nicole Auerbach to delete her account.
She should have. She should delete her job.
I mean, some of the people, the stuff they were saying, you got to wait till the football game's over. And do you think John Mateer is the future at Oklahoma?
I think he's done. I don't think he has another year, Brandon, and he's going to go to the NFL. But I think where Oklahoma, what they need is they need a more accurate passer. I think John's a gamer. I think he has outstanding mobility, and he made some good throws. There was a huge drop in the first half that may really turn the game around for Oklahoma, where he made the right read and the right throw. But at the same time, he also that throw to Xavier was horrendous. I mean, he's had those kind of mistakes all year, and I just think they need a little bit more consistency if you're Brent Venables. And I'll be interested. Hawkins is their backup, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're aggressive in the portal and going after another guy to come in.
Well, what do we figure is going to be with Ryan Williams from here on out? I mean,
I have no idea.
Complete and total afterthought.
I mean, I was hopeful that he would come out and
even that last juggled catch, honestly.
Yeah, I barely caught that. He's trying to catch that with his body too. I mean, I was hoping that he would have his best game since Tennessee and come out and ball against Oklahoma. He did not. I guess you can just rinse and repeat and hope that happens against Indiana. But at this point, I don't think he's reliable. And honestly, you saw he got limited targets, okay, because Cuevas was healthy enough to go.
I think 3 targets.
Germ, and then he seems to really the chemistry that Ty has with Lottie and Isaiah Horton, he seems to trust those guys quite a bit. So I don't know what to think. And at this point, I don't even know if Ryan Williams will be back next year. I mean, it's come to that point because he's making a lot of money and he's not making a lot of plays. And sometimes that may lead to a very difficult decision. I mean, who knows? His inner circle may be wanting him to go somewhere else and get a fresh start. We don't know that for sure. I'd certainly like him to stay at Alabama, fight through this, and become a great player. But right now, he is not a great football player.
All righty, Brandon. I appreciate
he can't be counted on to make plays.
We do need to take our one and only time out, and we need to get you updated on our next show, which I honestly, we need to discuss, Drew DeArmond, more than anything, as Alabama heading for the Rose Bowl. But we do need to pause here for a quick word from Dreamland BBQ.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com.
When the final whistle blows, the conversation is just getting started. Catch the Alabama Football Recap Show with Drew DeArmond and Steve Moulton on 97.7 The Zone. Brought to you by Dreamland BBQ in Huntsville, proud title sponsor of the Recap Show. Because when it comes to football and ribs, everybody knows ain't nothing like them nowhere. Alabama football, Dreamland BBQ, the perfect team.
The Crimson Tide, the Indiana Hoosiers, New Year's Day, the Rose Bowl.
The Tide advances to play top-seeded Indiana.
The road to the national title continues. Live from Pasadena, California, our coverage begins at noon on your home for Alabama football.
Your home of the Alabama Crimson Tide is 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
When the final whistle blows, the conversation is just getting started. Catch the Alabama Football Recap Show with Drew DeArmond and Steve Moulton on 97.7 The Zone. Brought to you by Dreamland BBQ in Huntsville, proud title sponsor of the Recap Show. Because when it comes to football and ribs, everybody knows ain't nothing like them nowhere. Alabama football, Dreamland Barbecue, the perfect team.
Back here on the Bama Recap Show, smoked by Dreamland Barbecue, along with Drew DeArmond, Steve Moulton back here with you. Just interesting to note that Alabama is going back 100 years almost to the day. I believe it is to the day after they claimed their first national championship in the Rose Bowl. So,
hey, Wilbon, Alabama's been winning for a long time. Did you look that up or did you have to Google it?
drink.
There you go. Drink.
It's another one. We got Alabama, Kennesaw State coming up here in 5 minutes' time over at the VBC. Chris Stewart will have the play-by-play call. And then later on this afternoon, I guess we'll play the Falcons and Cardinals, I guess. But
the NFC South is so bad.
That's some hard football to watch, the NFC South. But for Alabama in particular, it really is amazing to see the resiliency of this team and how much they punch back once they get on a roll. And once they're on it, you don't know how long it's going to last, but it's an entertaining team to watch. And this team is better than last year's team. I don't think anybody can argue that anymore.
No, you can't. I mean, the good in the game was their resiliency. Ty Simpson, Latsier Brooks, Josh Cuevas, Isaiah Horton, Daniel Hill, those kind of guys. And then just defensively as a whole, led by Zabian Brown, and Keon Keeley and guys like that.
Yeah.
They just played their guts out. Deontay Lawson had a really nice game. Justin Jefferson kind of bounced back from some early mistakes to play really good football. They just and then special teams. Let me give a shout out. I mean, Caden, they did a great job. Connor Talty kicking the football, Dowd with a coffin corner. They blocked the punt. They didn't have any disasters, back there, which could have really set them behind the chains early, in Norman. And then, the bad was the start, obviously. It was 17-0, and then the ugly, once again, the drops. I mean, you can't have those drops, because that could have really hurt you. If you don't win the football game, that's something you're going to look back at immediately. Those kind of mistakes. And then, like I said, though, the keys coming into the game were to at least play the kicking game even. They actually won the kicking game, win the turnover battle. They did that, is they didn't commit a turnover, and they forced one that they scored on, which was huge, against Oklahoma. And then the one thing we haven't really talked about, Steve, is they created the explosive plays. They didn't give up a bunch to Oklahoma. They gave up a couple.
Yeah.
But really, they out-explosived Oklahoma as well, which was a key to winning on the road.
That's exactly right. And I'm glad you brought that up. But moving forward, that is going to be a big key against Indiana.
Yeah, no question. It's going to be some of the same stuff. They did lose the time of possession battle, which was, part of the bad, I guess, against OU. They didn't possess the football enough, but they did in the second half. I thought a lot of it was early, and then they dominated the game. Anytime you go on a 34-7 run in somebody's backyard, especially in a game of that magnitude, it's huge. And they're going to have to do some of the same things against Indiana. I mean, Indiana's been in a big game. They won the Big Ten championship game, but now this is win or go home on a neutral field. You're not, and of course, so was the Big Ten championship game. Even though really it was a home game for Indiana, it was in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Indiana's fans are going to turn out in droves in Pasadena, and I don't blame them. Enjoy the moment. But if you're Alabama, you've got to be ready to go. You've been in a ton of these big games all year. You've actually been in more of them than Indiana has. So we'll see if how Indiana reacts to this moment. But like Kirk Cignetti said, and he was right. He said we weren't ready last year when we were establishing ourselves against Ohio State and Notre Dame, but we will be this year, and they have been. So it's going to be a fascinating matchup, and Cignetti should win every Coach of the Year award. But shout out to Kalen DeBoer. You're right. 11-3. They're better than they were a year ago. They've done an outstanding job, and this is going to be a huge opportunity for Ty Simpson when you're going up against the perceived number one pick in the draft and the Heisman Trophy winner.
That is going to wrap us up. We will be back, courtesy of the Crimson Tide, coming back from 17 down. Only two times in the CFP history has a team lost a 17-point lead. They both belong to Oklahoma. Georgia beat Oklahoma in the Rose Bowl, and now Alabama beats Oklahoma on their home field, and they dropped to 0-5 all-time in CFP games.
Well, and then, Brent Venables won the first two games against Kalen DeBoer, but in the college football playoff, Oklahoma 0, Alabama 2. Adios.
Big game coach. I mean, he's been to the CFP National Championship game. We'll see what happens coming up on January 1st, but we will be back for another edition of the Bama Recap Show, smoked by Dreamland BBQ. Safe travels to you, Drew DeArmond. Best of luck to the Crimson Panthers on the hardwood, and it's always good to see.
Thank you. Orange Beach tomorrow, 2 o'clock, and then we'll be back on the road, and then we'll be frying turkey on Tuesday.
Tom.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. Your home of the Crimson Tide Sports Network.
Roll Tide.
Fakes a pass. Now down low. Oh, the slam. One man to beat. Plays it up. Let's start over. Tied at 73. Oh, goodness. Elevated. Threw it home. 2 seconds. One buzzer. Ball game for the Tide. Bottom.